All right. Is anybody here for public forum? I guess that's not gonna work.
Yours is
Nobody's here for public forum? Okay. Consent agenda.
make a motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Under expenses, there was the visitor center electrical for 13,000. Is that like a annual? Yeah.
Shouldn't be 13,000.
What page are you on?
Let me see.
Should be under the general.
Oh, general fund would be all, that's probably just a,
Oh.
that's probably just a comment that, an initial one that showed up. So I'm showing visitor center electric is 21146 under the general fund.
Okay.
Or are you looking at the claims for review or the prior month? The list of checks.
I believe claims for review is maybe where I saw it.
Yeah, if it's for, let me just look at here.
Yeah, claims
Yep.
for review, the,
Harmony, yeah, the Harmony Public Utilities, so that just pulls, sometimes that'll show the town clock is 13,000 or 14,000, whatever our electric utility bills are. It's multiple areas, yeah, it just doesn't have enough space in the comment line
sure.
to show all of the locations that it's divvied up to.
Okay, cool. That's, so there's a few other things in there too, like the library telephone for 600. So that would be.
That's the total bill, yep. Yep.
Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The hearing for the Charles Owen property,
Yeah, so,
you open a public hearing?
It's not necessarily a public hearing. It's just a chance for him as the property owner to just come and speak and address the council if he chose to, and it doesn't look like he's here.
Okay,
So no, you don't have to do anything
okay,
further in that regard, other than, so I'm kind of the messenger here. Corinne, the other attorney, has worked with Sam on this, and he was sent a notice that he had the opportunity to show up tonight, and it sounds like you've spoken with him and a guy hired to do the painting for him.
yes.
In the meantime?
correct. Yep, so, after Mr. Owen got the notice of the hearing, he phoned, both myself and Corinne, gave us an update. His plan, he is doing, a lead abatement on that home. He has a contractor hired, to start, and it doesn't sound like they can start till end of October, beginning of November. They've got supplies on order. It sounds like they were picking the siding. It's going to be a complete abatement. So before, it might have been in, different times, you probably could have just painted over. This time it's going to be a complete siding endeavor. He was hoping to, I'm thinking, get it done by the next council meeting, but I just wanted to update you guys on that and ask your okay, or timeline wise, get an okay of what is satisfactory for the council for him to proceed. Just so we don't have any.
well, did he say a specific date in October
Well,
or
no.
late?
And that's where I'd like to get him and his contractor a little bit more of a firm timeline that the council's wanting to at least start seeing some progress on it. start.
Can we say like a time it has to be done, like?
So your options for tonight would be either you could declare it a nuisance under the ordinances, and we could issue an order that says you got 30 days to do it, or else we'll take it to the next step of go to court and ask for the judge to order it. Or you can say, we'll continue this conversation next month. That gives them the time to hopefully get it into play, revisit the
Right.
November meeting, and then take further action then if it's still needed. So if you're given a deadline, unless you plan to do a special meeting, probably,
Right.
if you don't do the order tonight, you probably are giving them an extra 30 days by default, because you won't be visiting again
Correct.
until November meeting.
I make a motion to make it a nuisance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to, is that, we're making a declaration of a nuisance?
I think what you're saying is the first option I presented of issuing an order from the city saying this is declared nuisance, you got 30 days.
Yes, that's what I.
Yeah, okay.
30
And it's
days.
30 days to complete the project or start it?
to complete it.
To
So
complete
30 days completed from today.
To
Or
abate,
tomorrow.
to abate the nuisance. So I suppose technically the nuisance is, in this case, the poor painting condition of the house, the thing. So tearing off the siding would technically be an abatement,
it. Okay,
and it would probably still be a work in progress, but at least the main concern is addressed.
So at least it would be
So we could-
stripped off the house anyway, and the lead paint issue would be gone and just be down to
painting.
needing to install the new siding at that point. So we're giving them 30 days to do that,
To remove the
Right.
siding.
to remove the siding, at least have it removed.
Or the complete abatement of the lead problem.
Right.
When was the first contact with the owner for his,
There was a notice, a letter notice mailed in July notifying him of the non-compliance.
Just regarding the lead, there's been other
We didn't know.
contacts through the years of.
Yeah.
Right.
of
It's been a
the-
nuisance
the
for a
property
long time in
itself.
this town.
Yep.
As long as I've lived here.
Different facets.
All right, hearing no further discussion, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The street project.
Good evening.
I thi-
So
I thi-
last month,
I think we had that question last month too, but when it says the project's 1.9 million and whatever dollars, that's just the construction, or is that with your services also? In the letter, it's 1.9 for the project.
$1.92, that is the estimated construction cost.
Construction,
not
okay,
the project cost.
okay.
was the project cost 2.3 million? Is that correct?
Take 1.92 plus 342, 544.20.
So
That's the estimated project cost.
Okay,
All right, so last month I was here, I presented the feasibility report. Next month I'm gonna be here for the public hearing, which starts our 529 process. What I'm here tonight for, this proposal, I do not expect this proposal in its entirety to be accepted by the council unless you guys choose to move forward following the public hearing next month. What I am here asking for is I'm asking for the council to consider approving task 3. Task 3 is the preliminary survey. And so what I would like to do is I'd like to be able to call in the Gopher State 1 call and get everything marked, get the preliminary survey done and the preliminary topo completed and that surface completed so that we're not doing this at the end of November into December. Ultimately, what happens is the warmer the weather, the faster our surveyor is able to work, the quicker the locates get done. We don't have paint on the ground that's covered by snow. Locators don't have to flag everything, they can paint everything. And so what I'm asking the council to consider is simply approving task 3 of this proposal at this point. Again, the remaining tasks would be under consideration following the public hearing next month. If for some reason the council decides not to move forward with this improvement project after the public hearing next month, the money spent for task 3 is not a waste, unless you never plan to reconstruct Snake Alley for the alleyway. And so this is a survey that would be done. Quite frankly, if you decide to do this improvement 10 years from now, the survey data is there and we don't have to duplicate this effort. So it's not something that's wasteful, even if we choose not to move forward at this point. But what I'm asking is for task 3 to be considered to be approved at this point, so we can call, go over state loan calls, get our survey done, so that following the November meeting, should you move forward with this project, we can jump into design instead of dealing with this type of stuff in November and December.
And you need payment. That's your request, we will task 3, and as soon as it's done, you get payment, or how is that?
We invoice, I'd like to say that we invoice monthly, but sometimes it's every 2 months, sometimes it's every 3 months. It would be due upon 30 days.
It would come in as
after our
a
invoice, so-
regular pay request, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be, if we did this work in the remaining days of October here, you'd probably see an invoice either in November or December for that.
Do you have a rough estimate on what that price would be?
Yes, if you flip to page 4,
27?
it's broken down by task. Task 3 is estimated, it's an hourly cost, but it's 27,554. So everything's broken down into tasks in this proposal. Again, I'm not asking you to look at anything else other than the task 3 for this, but task 1 and 2 are the design fee, which is not hourly. That's set by our professional services agreement with you guys. Task 3, 4, 5, and 6 are hourly. Task 7 is construction services, which is hourly as well. But I'm only asking for approval for task 3 at this point. And again, following the public hearing next month, should you guys want to move forward, I'll be asking for approval of design services to move this project into effect.
I'd make a motion to approve task 3.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Of the costs in tax 3, are any of those passed on to residents in the form of a levy, or is that strictly city cost?
So what happens is, we just talked about the total project costs of 2.2, whatever it was, right? Construction costs of 1.92. Project costs, or our design and all the other stuff, adding another 342. You take that total project costs following construction, you break it down to the eligible costs. So water main is not assessed back, sanitary sewer is not assessed back, water services and sanitary sewer services are, street improvements are, they're assessed back at a 40%. So what happens is we take that total construction costs, the pay requests that you guys see that I send in for the contractors, we take all the soft costs, that's us, that's your bonding costs, that's everything there. We figure out what percentage that is of the construction costs and add in a project cost factor to every line item. So let's say your soft cost ends up being 20%. I'm gonna take every line item within that contract multiplied by 1.2 so that every cost above and beyond the construction costs are equally divided amongst all the bid items, and then we take the eligible assessable costs and break those out. So I guess the short answer is yes, some of those costs for task 3 would be divvied up within assessable costs at the end of this project.
To the homeowners.
Yes.
And a percentage of those costs are in the rest too, city one. Yep.
Yeah, whether it be utility costs or your 60% share of the street improvement costs.
All right, hearing no further discussion, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving task 3, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Park Board,
So we met last night. As you all know, the splash pad is chipping and cracking and doing what it's doing. Councilmember Scavo reached out to a couple companies and solicited bids to seal it so that it will hold up for a longer period of time. The recommendation from the park board was to go with the low bid of $14,000 to surface that, which has a 15-year cracking, chipping, and delamination warranty. And we left it up to the council to figure out where those funds would come from, because the park board has pretty much exhausted their budget for the year.
sure.
But in order to preserve it and to keep it viable for the future, we thought it necessary to move forward with it and go from there.
Is the concept to do that before winter or
Yes,
after winter?
both companies were ready to go and get it done yet this year.
The thought is through the winter, if the water gets into those cracks through the winter and freezes, it's just gonna get worse.
Mhm.
Which would add to possibly more costs in doing it later.
When was the cement was poured in the spring, correct?
Cement was poured a year ago
A year
in
ago.
fall.
in the
In
fall.
the fall. And who did that? Or was that volunteer labor?
It was volunteer labor,
Mhm.
charges for the concrete.
We have no documentation of any sort of warranty. I have, in discussion, it was understood that the people that were putting this in, it was not felt that it was needed to be sawed at that point. So, yeah, we're just kind of stuck. I did look at the budget for next year. Something I brought up to Park was that if we could borrow from the 401 Capital Improvement Fund and then slowly repay that back over the next 4 or 5 years, or 3, depending on how they came in with their budget. Something that I looked at with the budget for next year, depending on Parks and Rec, on their donation ask, there's going to be probably quite a bit of wiggle room there, probably in the realm of around $5,000. I'm anticipating, but of course we don't know. I also padded the water consumption for next year as well, knowing that this year was a high year, and we are going to put in the randomizer plus, but we're adding in 2 more features. And there's an other improvement fund that has a budget right now of a projected budget of $15,000 that, depending on the improvements next year, may not be 100% used. So with the resolution next year, if there's some extra funding that could be given back to that 401 fund to replenish that.
Do we know the amount of the Wilkin Fund yet?
It's around $55,000
And where is that money?
in the 401 fund.
And the 401 is not your 401k, it's
No, it's the 401 Capital Improvement Plan Fund. That's just
it's in
the
capital improvements.
Capital
Okay.
Improvement Fund. Yep,
Okay.
that's the fund that we use. So, but that also houses the ambulance, the fire department, parks, lawnmowers. It houses water and sewer plant improvements as well. So it's kind of a catch-all for all capital improvements. But we would add a line item there for the parks loan, so to speak, from the 401 fund, documenting the borrowing of it and then the replenishment.
You did talk to Sandy, right? And she said that they would possibly continue to try to,
I did a while back, before when I informed her of this issue. And they were gonna do some fundraising. I've reached out to her since and I just haven't been able to connect with her yet. So
so there's that possibility that.
there's that, yeah, possibility too with additional fundraised money.
So the 401 fund is a catch-all for all boards. Or-
Everything, yep. It's water, sewer, fire, ambulance, parks, street improvements, for like seal coating. We have 4 different categories for seal coating.
There's
Yep.
set
There's
aside money. We set it aside yearly, build that up. So when the
Yep.
project
So
comes,
that's separate from other boards.
yes, it's not a
Yes.
board at all.
Library board.
It's not a board at all,
Parks board.
right?
Yeah, if our, like Parks, if Parks puts away, money for lawnmowers every year. Parks also can put away for park improvements. Arts Board can put away for, a mural, or,
Sure.
the ambulance puts away, funding every year to, go towards the purchase of a new ambulance. So, yeah, so it's kind of a catch-all for any capital improvement.
So I'll make a motion to borrow the money for now, and decide later if the park fund will pay it back or if some other fund will.
I'll second.
And that included completing the project. Any further discussion?
Did you talk to Tyler specifically?
Yes.
14, is that on the high end or is it the Tyler Sailor? That is, but it'll top out at.
That's what he square footage priced me and crack fixing and getting it done.
It's the
So,
all-in price.
fill cracks, fix the cracks, and then finish the coating.
And it's cracking because it's not sawed, correct?
There wasn't relief cuts into it, so it put extra stress to it.
So should we do that first?
I don't think that's
So-
even necessary at this point. Once you seal that top on that, it's not gonna.
It's moving as a unit.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the
Whole-
rebar in it, so it's gonna move as a unit now. It's just the initial cracking from that is probably where that came. And it goes from every
Feature.
feature that we have is a crack to
To the
crack to
drain.
crack. So it went to the weakest points where there was already a hole. If it would have been sawed, it wouldn't have done that.
Right.
In theory.
But we wouldn't hurt to saw it now, as far as I'm aware, no.
Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I'm not a concrete expert. I wouldn't know if it would help it now after it's already done it or make it worse, to be honest with you.
I'd like to,
And no matter what you do, you're filling, when we coat that, it's gonna fill all that anyway.
Just so you know, the motion as is would not do the cutting.
right,
Okay, okay.
yeah, no, I would like to talk to somebody who would recommend to cut or not. And also to have a better plan as to what the splash pad looks like, because we keep throwing money at it, and I think a longer term plan would be nice to see before we spend more money on it.
I don't disagree with you one bit on that. The problem is that when this project was done, it was kind of thrown together and, for lack of a better statement, not well thought out or planned. The concept was really great, but the end result is what we ended up with, unfortunately. And we have to either decide to walk away from it and not maintain it, or maintain it and continue to have something that's here.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'd like to see if
I think,
one would recommend cutting it or not.
yep, I get that. And what I would say is that I'm in agreement with that. But hopefully, this is the last major expense that we have with that. It shouldn't. We have all the features that have been requested. We have now hopefully fixed the concrete issue. So hopefully this, you will see an end to spending money other than the water.
And on that line, I'm tending to not want to do that now, but I'm thinking if you wanted to put stress cuts in, you could do that after it's sealed too. You could go and cut that. You can't.
No,
You'd have
The saw won't do it?
reseal it.
well, the saw will do it, but it'll wreck the cover you put on it.
It would chip it all
Yeah.
out instead of cutting smooth.
Well, it'll just compromise the whole point of doing it because now you'll get water in where you relief cut it and nothing
Mhm.
else, and that'll be,
Well, and it'll go under and delaminate and
Yep.
it'll avoid. the
it's meant to
warranty
be a
too.
one surface coverage.
Sure.
Sawing afterward would void your warranty on them.
Pretty much.
Mhm. Okay.
I guess I'd prefer probably if that's true, that then you seal it, but there's more problems in the future because we didn't talk to somebody who knows more about concrete. I'd like to see
Like
Park
I said,
Board
it'll-
maybe talk to somebody who knows, come back with some recommendations next month, and
Well,
hopefully do it by
is
the
there
end of the
some-
The
year.
guy who does the seal coating knows quite a bit about concrete, right? You see, that's what he does.
That's what he
Seals con-
does, yeah, and
seals
he-
concrete.
And he made no mention of it needing to be cut, but, I mean, it wasn't really discussed with him.
Right.
Problem is, we're on a time schedule now as to where if they don't get it done, like,
in the next
in the
month,
next month, it's not gonna get done, and then it's gonna be even worse next year.
costs
No,
more
I
money.
get that.
And then we gotta, whenever we open it up, it might be delayed, or by the time they can get to it, or.
Yeah, no,
So
I
kind of a
understand.
deal like that, so I don't know how that would work with the motion in place.
No, I understand that. It's just that we seem to make moves that are always 2 steps behind what is going to make us spend more money on the splash pad. So if Park Board could look more into what the long-term plan for the splash pad is rather than just the short-term month-to-month basis, I think that'd be preferable on my end.
We've talked about that. I mean, we've talked about recycling
yeah.
and we've talked about other things. It's just everything, these new problems come up and you don't foresee them. So, I mean,
Right.
it's the way it is.
Right, but now we're going to spend another 14,000. I guess I'd like to have a longer term plan in place before we spend $14,000 more, and hopefully do that before the end
Long-term
of the year.
plan of what?
Yeah, what are you looking for?
To
specifically?
talk to
Because-
somebody who knows more about concrete, if we need to cut it or not, what we can best do to preserve it.
Well, that can be
for the
done
future.
tomorrow morning within
Sure.
a 5-minute conversation. I mean, that's not a long-term plan. I mean, what we're doing is we're putting Band-Aids on everything that's been bled.
Right, right. We need to stop doing that and start planning for the future, I guess, is what my point is.
Well, like I said, we can either not do it or keep what we have. And that's going to be sometimes a month to month, a year to year thing because these things are going to arise.
Yeah,
And that's where we're at. That's where we're stuck.
yeah. But before we seal coat it, if there's things we need to do first, such as cut it, I think that'd be
Well, that's the only question.
That'd be the only thing.
Yeah.
If it had to be cut or not, it's,
And that's a 2-minute conversation. So
all right. So if you're gonna do that, then I guess that sounds good to me.
not the lines,
Not
just
the
to do
lines, just
the,
in
relief
general.
cuts.
just
Yeah.
to do relief cuts is what he's asking.
Could you amend it, Steve, or not? Do we have to vote on this one? Or not?
Yes, we need to vote on this. Well, my only comment is, I think the seal coating makes sense at this time, so. We'll call for the vote. All in favor of the seal coating, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Just one opposed. Motion carries. All right. Anything else with the park board?
No, that was our only thing. So we can skip the one in the bottom too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The mini split quote.
So that would be for the council room here. One of the PTAC
PTACs.
units is done, end of life. So the recommendation, talking with Terry, and the recommendation from building and maintenance is to go with the option one from Kingsley, option one from Kingsley's, which would be a mini split unit with 2 heads. So there'd be one on each side of the room theoretically, to help cool and warm this room. And then one of the PTAC units would stay here as a backup for the time being, or if we need it somewhere else at another time, then we could use it. So that's our recommendation, to go with option one
And they're a lot quieter.
Yeah, because the unit would be outside.
Perfect timing.
As it turns on, yeah, perfect timing. They're a lot quieter. And I think, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, but we do have some of our PTAC units that you're having a hard time getting parts for.
We have one now, so.
Okay.
If this gets approved, we're gonna take one of these and put it in another room.
Just,
Go
yeah,
down,
Okay.
instead of buying.
yeah, instead of
Yep.
buying a new one.
Move this one.
All right, I'll make a motion for option one.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to do option one of the mini split. Any discussion?
So you said there's two options from Kingsley's. There's the first and the second, which is only one unit, correct?
One head, yes.
Is there a reason why unit or option one would be preferable? Is that because of the size of the room?
Yes.
And how long have these been in service?
15 years?
Probably
Yeah,
close
whenever
to
the
that.
building got remodeled.
I was,
Is
yeah,
it 15 or 20? These are,
could be 15-ish.
I just saw the
It
remodel
was
file and I
done
found all
after-
of it. It was,
It was done after I started down here full-time, so I'm not quite at 20.
What's in the other rooms currently?
These.
these.
These?
Yep.
They were all installed at the same time?
Yep.
Mhm.
I do know that in my former office and I think in some other rooms too, Terry, and COVID didn't help things, but just some of the boards and some of the parts were on back order for like 6 months and they're kind of expensive. So if we have one that we could use for parts to maintain other ones.
Is this the only one out of service in the whole building?
No, there's one other. So he's going to move
Well-
one of these to the other room.
There's only one
So
out
we
of
won't-
service, but
Yeah, only one on
We won't have one in spare
Well,
because we're going to put it in use.
yeah, yeah. But if there's other parts from that other one that we could maybe use, but probably not, maybe.
Do we know what's dead in the dead one? Is it the compressor?
Compressor.
The compressor's bad. Okay. Is that a replaceable part?
At the time, you take it out, install the new one, run a vacuum, fill with refrigerant plant, you
Mhm.
almost bought a new one. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The compressor is one of the main components.
Sure.
And this is supplemental, correct, for the building?
This is,
This is,
this is
it.
how we
this
heat.
is how we heat and cool.
Mhm.
What heats the gym? That's radiant,
Furnaces.
that's radiant heat. So there is,
No,
Yeah.
just- we have
Forced air.
Just forced air furnaces.
oh, forced air furnace, yeah. So we do have
Yeah.
the building might not totally freeze if we
Yeah.
open doors and run fans.
Not completely.
All right. Hearing no further discussion, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of option one, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. You're abstaining, okay. Domingo abstains. Immediate family.
Yeah. Hopefully smart.
Anybody voting against? No, okay. Arts Board,
Yeah, so Arts Board, a student representative graduated this last spring, so we're hoping to appoint a new student, and we've reached out. Brielle Youngland is interested. She's pretty involved in a variety of arts projects, and
what was the name?
Brielle Yelmeland. She's in theater. She does lots of the arts within the school district, so we feel she'd be a good candidate for as long as she'll be in school. So the arts-
And who are we thanking for their years of service that's going off?
Maddie Burgee is off now to college. So, yeah, she's served 2 or 3 years now, I believe.
I think it was
3.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
that is sticking out in my mind for some odd reason, but yeah.
Yeah.
I believe.
So the arts board recommends that the council approve Brielle Yumland for the Arts Board.
I'll make a motion to approve Brielle Yumlin to the Arts Board.
I'll second.
And in discussion, I'll just note that we want to thank Maddie Burgee for her years of service and welcome Brielle to the board. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is that it for arts?
Yes.
And for below? You'll have nothing below too? Okay.
Right.
All right. Personnel Committee.
We have two things. First one we met. Rory.
You can.
We met with Rory to see how we thought things were going. Kind of had discussion and wasn't going how we thought it would be, so he voluntarily stepped down from his position.
And so we'd like to advertise for
We would like to advertise for
that
a,
position.
a part-time finance clerk position. 32 hours a week. Assisting myself and Lisa. Lisa's stepped up and done a great job. We're hanging in there so far. I would put this out tomorrow. I have everything ready to go. Just wanted the approval of that to advertise and post for that.
And that was 30 hours with benefits, correct?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the posting for the part-time finance clerk position.
I'll second.
Oh, how long do you want this to run? I guess I should probably ask that.
The ad?
How long do we want this posting to be open? Normally postings are open about 30 days from what I've done a little research on.
Sounds good.
30 days? Okay.
Yeah. Good with that.
Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on posting for a new employee for financial clerk and accepting Rory's resignation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Sorry, that was like a two-part thing, the personnel committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second part of that is we met with Lisa Morgan. We were one year review. I'll speak for Steve, but I think she's done exceptional, stepping up. So we talked about going to grade 4, step 2.
What grade and step was it before?
3 and 2.
Grade 3.
I don't have that sheet, do we? We don't have it in here, do we?
Oh, your council grid or your salary grid?
Pardon?
Your salary grid, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
No, sorry, did not include that for you. She was at a 3 and 2. Currently, she stepped in to fill in all of the EDA postings, receiving all payments in for EDA loans, keeping up the loan schedule, taking on a lot of those finance roles, helping me out. I will still do the reconciliation and some of the other, financial duties in the meantime to fill in.
I'll make a motion to approve the moved for to grade 4, step 2.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for moving Lisa to grade 4, step 2. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Well, congratulations, Lisa, and thank you for your continued good work. It's appreciated.
Very appreciated. My pager was off and I run out the door and she goes, I'll see you later. I said, yes, yes, you will. It's great.
Utility assessments.
Yeah, we got a couple of them. One I'm kind of fumbling through. Never done one of these before. We actually had a homeowner ask to have street patch and repair assessed to his property taxes. In the resolution, it's requesting that we put in a per interest or an interest rate per annual per year. 4.15% is the federal rate. I worked with Corinne this afternoon. I wasn't sure how the council had proceeded before, if they just, how that all worked. Homeowners agreeable this has been discussed. He's signed a waiver he's aware of all the percentage rates, what the final payout would be in total after interest, and this would be payable over 5 years. And requesting to do that. The other is this utility assessment, which you have in front of you for backhoe utilities. And then that homeowner for the backhoe utilities would agree to ACH payments going forward to avoid getting in arrears and having to do this again. So a couple of different assessment types. Hoping for a little guidance on the first one, because I wasn't finding anything.
I think the only council member that would be that may know that answer is Steve.
Is that, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah,
No,
Is it-
normally when you're doing assessments, it's on a street project like
right.
Brett was talking about earlier, and
Mhm.
you guys, I think your policy has been to increase it 1% over what you're borrowing money for, or something like that, some percentage. But
Mhm.
this is a case where you're not borrowing money for it, so there is no metric.
It's kind of
To
a
judge it
personal loan.
Well, it's just taking money from the city
Taking-
general
yeah.
finances that's
Yeah.
paying it now, and then they're paying you back over this 5-year period through the tax system.
Yeah.
So, so it's open-ended in the sense that we don't have that other
Kind
interest
of
rate to look
uncharted
at.
waters.
But what is the work? Is the work been done already?
It's completed. It's been invoiced. You have the invoice there for the total. To the left of your microphone.
Almost a year.
Oh, here.
It's on paper.
But the city was invoiced or the
The city,
homeowner?
the city was originally invoiced. We paid it. There was, when we do street patching repair like this for I mean,
Utility. It's a
service.
utility.
it's a utility improvement. They had a sewer, they're responsible for that street patch and repair in the curb and gutter, replacing that back. So we actually had 4 homes a couple of years ago that had this done. And last year, because it was just the timing was not right, I couldn't get it on this year's tax roll. We've paid it. The homeowners just asked that we get it on his tax roll for next year. So that's just that's kind of how that works. We're doing some street patching repair right now. So when we get that bill, Brett will help work with the square footage and that and what each section would be invoiced.
So you did talk to the homeowner on the percentage rate that you have,
Mhm.
and they were
Completely
fine.
fine. Yep, signed. He actually signed the waiver with this percentage rate in it and was understanding that the council may change that this evening. or leave it as is. Just because this is uncharted uncharted territory and something new that I wasn't sure how you guys would proceed. So, but very agreeable, very thankful that we're even willing to do this for him. So, willing to work with the city this way. We do have some, well, quite a bit of my time, some attorney time in there too. So,
I'm gonna make a motion to adopt resolution 23-09.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to adopt resolution 23-09. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
On 2310, I did give you a confidential cover sheet regarding that account. With the delinquent utility amount and the process going forward, that homeowner has agreed to that process.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 23-10.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for 23-10. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, anything for building and maintenance?
I only think we discussed it all.
No,
Truck.
you have,
Oh, yeah, we did. I forgot about that
We
Sealed
opened
bid.
bids on the truck
yesterday.
yesterday.
Oh,
So
we got 5 total.
we have, 5 total bids. The high bid of $10,400 was to Trevor Torgerson, and it would be our recommendation to award that to him.
I'll make a motion to award that bid.
I'll second it.
have a motion and a second to accept the high bid of 10-4 for the truck. Any further discussion? We've taken the city of Harmony off of the
Yes.
Site.
everything is all
Yes, it actually looks very nice. It's
cleaned
very
up well.
clean for a work truck. So
All right. Hearing no further discussion, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that's it.
Now that's it.
EDA. I guess I can speak a little for the EDA. The chamber came back to us and they're, at this time, they're not hiring a director and planning to do a part-time director next year and are requesting 2,000. So that original we had in our preliminary last month wouldn't be necessary for the EDA. You think of anything else that was,
It was a pretty short meeting. Bike trail meeting with the DNR is coming up October 26th. So one or more representatives from the DNR should be here to talk with people from the city and any land. We've invited landowners along the corridor to come as well, but for trying to make sure everybody's still moving forward in the right direction.
yeah, and that's 10:30 a.m.
Yep, 10:30 here.
Harmony Chamber.
So as you know, our chamber director, Allison Whalen, has resigned and started working for CETA. We appreciate all that she accomplished for our community and her role as the chamber director over the past year, and we wish her the very best. Allison remains an active chamber volunteer. The chamber's programming will continue to run as planned without disruption. Our volunteer board of directors will do its best to fill the director's role until a new director is hired in 2024. Our membership drive has begun, so don't miss out on the early bird rates. As part of our Discover Downtown Harmony sign project, there are 2 additional cast aluminum signs to be installed. We understand that it works best for city employees to hang these when the equipment is out for seasonal flag removal. We are requesting the History Center and parking signs be installed at that time this fall. The signs are stored in the director's office in the visitor center. Also, the chamber is not sponsoring or seeking donations for garland for the light poles or gazebo for this holiday season. We are requesting, however, that the city workers install the holiday LED reusable light strands that the Harmony Area Community Foundation sponsored for the community last year. We also have chamber volunteers willing to help take the lights down to store for future years. That's what I have.
Thank you.
Okay. Are you guys good with installing those signs?
We
Yeah.
have the lift out.
Yeah, okay. And then, did you look into some garland pricing?
I did. And I was glad I was sitting down because I think I would have fallen over. So, last year there was a lot of discussion around putting garland on the poles with the new poles going in and having
Coated wire.
coated wire, which we didn't have last year. I have found some industrial reusable garland, commercial grade and reusable garland. I say industrial because the stuff I think is pretty beefy. It's like $300 for 16 feet.
How much?
Yeah,
Oh,
$300 for
That's what
16
she said.
feet,
Thought you said 800.
So like
Oh, a little better than that.
300 per pole then?
basically. And I just drove down the street this week. This morning, it's like 16 poles roughly that we could do.
Let's try the lights for this year. See how that looks.
That, and again, that is maybe something, next year, we're going through the budget process. Is there different places where we could beef up our expenditure for holiday lighting or doing different things like that? So,
Did you look into natural garland, I guess?
natural garland, unless it is from the utility commission, from the committee, unless it's got a coated wire, it's gonna just, scratch the poles, and those poles are $8,000 a piece.
Do we have lights for all the poles?
Yeah, so the chamber bought lighting for all the poles last year, right?
Community
Community
Foundation.
Foundation.
Well,
through
that's the
chamber.
star, that's the star or the snowflake, right?
So those are separate from the.
Separate
what
from
they're
the-
talking
Oh, so we're still
You
gonna
could
be able to
wrap
wrap the
them,
pole?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You could still wrap.
Yeah.
Similar, I think Chatfield does that, just,
Yeah, there's a bunch.
just lights, and then I think like Spring Grove, Maple.
Well, the
Light.
poles are green too, so they kind of,
The new ones are black.
They're black.
oh yeah,
The
they're
new
black.
ones are
We
black.
should paint them
The
green.
old ones are green. Yeah. So yeah, if we could ensure that the real garland was had a coated wire in there,
We did it last year with the real garland, correct?
Yes.
with, and it was
Uncoated wire.
supposed to
Uncoated
have,
wire,
it was supposed to have a coated wire, and it ended up not having, it didn't come with a coated wire.
And what were the results?
Did it?
There's a little bit of scratching.
There's some
It's
scratching.
it's not terrible,
Not
but
terrible, but the more, every year that you do it, the more scratches you have. And you want to get 30 years out of the poles, if you can. For the amount that they cost. So, I mean, I can look into even other options, but
we'd have to see if if the council has some interest. It doesn't sound like anybody was very interested in that.
I would say this year for sure, let's just do the lights and we can, if somebody wants to revisit it next year, we can revisit it.
give us a little bit more time.
All right. Library board.
Library board met last night. Not really anything to update though. Yeah.
Okay. Fire department have anything?
Nope, I would say not.
Tomorrow night,
Oh, oh yeah, the open
fire
house.
prevention, open house tomorrow night. Grilling hot dogs, chips, cookies, bring the kids.
Starts at
Yes,
5,
starts at 5, ends at
Third.
5 through 7.
5 to
7.
5:30,
5:30.
5:30 to,
But Craig said 5, but okay. 5:30. We'll be there.
we'll have cookies done by then.
Hot dogs will be ready
You
after.
got hot dogs?
We got
Yeah.
them.
Hot dogs. yes.
All
They're
right.
there. They're not cooked yet. Well, you can eat them.
They'll be grilled this year,
Ooh,
Ooh.
yes.
stepping up. Everybody saw the sheriff's report. Anybody else have anything for our meeting?
I was asked, is the heat on for the visitor center yet? You know, it was cold on Saturday, apparently.
Yeah,
Very
we were notified of that.
We'll flip it over.
We were notified of that yesterday or this morning, yesterday. Yeah. So,
That's what they make sweaters for.
yeah, blankets, space heaters.
Yeah, all winter.
And boots and gloves. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I know, mine like went to mute. Mr. Craig.
These things just need batteries. Terry's replacing the batteries all the time.
Yeah, it just went off
Better you than me.